In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 horror movies that I think deserve a sequel. So in no particular order for this, let's get this started off with number 10 on a movie I feel deserves a sequel at some point, or should have got one. Be D. Snyder's Strangeland. I think a sequel to this now could be done, especially with the way the internet is and everything's a lot more accessible. I just think I think it's time for Captain Howdy to come back and wreak havoc on a small town. Number 9 on my list, it's going to be a movie from the early 2000s. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
You have to tell me. What happened?
Very meta slasher, you know. In this world, Freddy and Jason are real. They're his heroes. And the ending to this movie, Leslie Vernon lives. I just think there's a sequel in this where Leslie Vernon comes back. Maybe he wreaks havoc again on the same town, or maybe he moves on and wreaks havoc on another town. And you could even bring Robert Englund back to track him down. This is definitely one at the time that I think everybody thought was going to get a sequel, and a sequel's been talked about numerous times with this, and it's just never happened for whatever reason. But Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Number 8 on the list is going to be The Burning.
The Burning.
Now, when it comes to The Burning, I think a lot of people are going to call it a Friday 13th ripoff, which it is. But it is one of the better Friday the 13th ripoffs, and I think it deserved a sequel at the time. I think they should have tried to milk it for everything that they could have. But again, I didn't research or look it up, but I don't know what it did at the box office to say why it didn't get one. But I think bringing Cropsey back would have been fun. You kind of mirror the Friday 13th in a way. Come back at the same camp so many years later, or maybe Cropsey moves on to get revenge at another camp, or what have you. But The Burning is one of my favorite slashers from the 80s of that era, and I just think that it deserves a sequel. Number 7 on my list is going to be cult classic that bombed at the box office and achieved cult status much later on. That's going to be Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps. If you scream, you're dead.
With Night of the Creeps, it already ends kind of open-ended. You think everything's done, but there's still like an alien slug out there. And I think at the time, and maybe not so much now, but at the time, I would have liked to seen a sequel for that maybe explored, hey, the slug kind of moves on maybe to a different town, and the same thing kind of happens there, but you have Tom Atkins' character who maybe sees it on the news or whatever, and he goes to that town to fight him again or whatever. But I just think there's a sequel there, and they left it for there to be a sequel at the end, and it's another one I think it deserved a sequel at some point. Number 6 on my list is going to be another Friday 13th ripoff, another camp time slasher, but this is also one of my favorite slashers of that standalone slashers of the 80s, and that is Madman.
Madman. There is no escape.
Madman's another one I feel like you could just use the Friday the 13th blueprint for a sequel to this. I mean, you got Madman Mars, who looks awesome. There's a legend, don't say his name. I think you can maybe explore that with another the urban legend by the campfire, and Madman Mars returns. But yeah, it's another one that I would have liked to see a sequel to. Number 5 on the list is going to be one of my favorites, probably of all time, through childhood even to this day. And that's going to be the Monster Squad.
Monster Squad.
Wolfman's gone mad.
Now, this is another one much like Night of the Creeps. Fred Dekker couldn't find that success at the box office, but much later on, this is another cult movie. And interesting with this, I think that had they done a sequel of the time, I don't know, maybe you could explore, they did the Universal monsters, but there's so many more monsters out there from urban legends and folklore and all that. Maybe they could have done something with that. Or better yet, I still think a sequel to this works now. And kind of that ideal I think that I would have is maybe kids are grown up, obviously, but maybe all them monsters find a way back, and they gotta fight them off again, and can go through these characters as grown-ups with adult responsibilities and all that. But I don't know, I just think it deserves a sequel. I want to see these characters again. It'd be awesome, and I love the Monster Squad. Number 4 on my list is going to be a movie that, if you watch my previous video, you already heard me talk about, and if you watched that video, you said I'm going to talk about more than once on this channel, because I do love this movie. I think it's a really fun movie. It's going to be Brain Scan.
Brain Scan. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Now, with the sequel to Brain Scan, I think there's a lot of things they could have done. Maybe you still do today, really. But I mean, as long as you include the trickster, maybe this game shows up somewhere else, and if another kid, and you can do it that way. Or the sequel, a couple years after this, you could have done is at the end of the movie, he gives the brain scan to the teacher who's the head of his, I don't know if it's a video game club or horror club, whatever it is. Maybe you could explore that a little bit, but I think you have the trickster there, and you can use him no matter what. And either way, I'd like to see a sequel. Maybe you could explore things a little bit further. But Brain Scan is a really fun movie. I'm going to champion this movie any chance I get, because I think it is an absolute gem of the 90s. So, yeah, Brain Scan. Now, number 3 on my list, this is a modern cult classic, Trick or Treat. There is no reason whatsoever that there shouldn't be like 7 of these right now. Just for the fact it's an anthology. They're easy to do. I'm sure you can make them for the cheap, and it's just so simple. I mean, put one of these out every October. It's anthology, new stories. You can still got Sam to wrap around. Still include Sam, but I just don't understand why it never got a sequel. I mean, the sequel's been talked about forever. Will we ever get it? Probably not. But yeah, Trick or Treat to me is a slam dunk at the box office. It's a Halloween movie. Put it out in October, and make it fairly cheap, and it should make plenty of money. Number 2 on my list is another modern movie, and it is kind of a Halloween movie too. That's Hellfest.
Hellfest. Rated R. This carnival is not for children.
You know, if you've seen Hellfest, you know the ending. He gets away, right? Killer gets away, but I just think you can. I mean, this is another one that's super easy to do. Set it in another we call it haunted house or whatever it is. But all the variations of the masks he has, and I mean, you could just make like 20 of these realistically if you wanted to. Number one on my list of horror movies that deserve a sequel this is also a favorite of mine that I found back in the Hollywood video blockbuster days. Fangoria put this out, and I believe 01 is a Fangoria one. And that's slashers.
スラッシャーズが間もなくアメリカにやってきます。
Are you game?
Now, a lot of people probably hasn't heard or seen of this, but TerraVision did just recently put it out. And Slashers basically, it's a Japanese game show where these contestants, they compete in this arena and try to survive, I don't know, maybe 24 hours. I can't remember exactly what, but a group of these three killers. There's three killers that are, you know, trying to pick them off one by one, and whoever survives at the end gets the prize money. If nobody survived, the prize money just doubles for the next time. But in this, they tease different killers. I mean, you have the three main ones in here: Chainsaw Charlie, the Preacher, and Dr. Ripper. But they show like montages of previous episodes, and there's like a clown killer, but there's just different killers. And it's another one you could have could have done it then, and just it could have been a different episode of the show, or even do it now where, you know, social media and all that's more prevalent, and do it, set it now. But this is a really fun movie. I think the killers, Chainsaw Charlie in particular, are great. Even Preacher Man is great. But yeah, so Slashers deserves a sequel. So there you have it, guys. There is my 10 movies that I think should have gotten a sequel or deserves a sequel to this day. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, let me know if you agree with any of these picks, or there's any movies I left out you would have added. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, rewind or die.